What exactly are they hiding? This is obviously complete propaganda, and anyone can see through that. We have witnessed this before in history, and we are facing this yet again. Lies in our face, and we have to sit here and pretend it's acceptable. The bankers are criminals, working for the entities which work against us. Do not fall for their traps, and don't fund their systems. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to look into what the Fed said. We are going to talk about the ECB, Venezuela, and more. Let's get into this right away. This is an article out of CNBC. It shows a video of Janet the felon Yellen, and let's talk about a few points that she made. According to her, the banks are very much stronger, and another financial crisis is not likely in our lifetime. One of the stupidest things I've ever heard. But when I say that, I have to think, is it Janet the felon that is the one who's stupid? Or is it the people who believe that? That's up to you to decide. Fed Chair Janet Yellen said that the banking system is very much stronger due to, can you believe this, Fed supervision and higher capital levels. Look, if the capital levels were actually higher, that would be great and I would be all for that, but they're not. When you talk about fractions, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Fed supervision is a joke because where were they? Where have they been every single crash since their creation? They're nowhere to be found. And that's the sad part about this, that people actually believe it. They really do. When they talk like this, when there's a boom, but when there's a bust, they're not going to be found in front of crowds of people. They're going to be hiding away. Yellen also predicted that because of the measures that the Fed has taken, such as what? Another financial crisis is unlikely to occur in our lifetimes. I mean, what measures? Printing trillions and trillions of dollars, giving it out to people in secret, not allowing anybody to know what it was. When the Congress asked, who were you giving this money to? They said, no, we're not going to tell you. That type of measures? Really? Further down in the article, they've mentioned a few points. Let's just quickly cover a few. Banks last week passed the first round of the Fed's stress test, okay? The fake test that they do all over the world to see how they would perform under adverse conditions like a 10% unemployment rate, okay? They're at that right now. And turbulence in commercial real estate and corporate debt, also going on right now. I think the public can see that the capital positions of the major banks are very much stronger this year. All the firms passed the quantitative parts of the stress tests. I mean, does anybody believe that? Really? This is not a sarcasm or anything like that. I want to know who believes that. She also made a bold prediction that another financial crisis, the likes of the one that exploded in 2008, was not likely in our lifetime. Talking about Lehman Brothers and saying that it would have been worse than the Great Depression without the Fed's intervention, according to her, and many have said that as well. I think that even if it would have been worse than the Great Depression, that it would have been over a lot sooner if there was no intervention. The Great Depression marked, at that time, the most intervention that had ever happened in the US. That's why it took so long to recover. In part, of course. There's a lot of claims from central bankers and others in the financial industry. They say things one way or the other, but as far as I'm concerned, they don't have any legitimacy at all. They are simply just saying what they need to say in front of the cameras, in front of the people writing the articles, and it's a joke ultimately. Look, this is back in 1930. So obviously you know what happened in 1929. Well, let's cover what happened in 1930. These are quotes This one here, President Hoover. While the crash took place 6 months ago, I am convinced we have passed the worst and continued unity of effort, we shall rapidly recover. That didn't happen. We have hit the bottom. We're on the upswing. Okay, that didn't happen either. And I see no reason why 1931 should not be an extremely good year. Well, it was a good year if you were shorting the markets. That's the kind of lies that we are told all the time. Maybe they did believe it. I just don't think so. I mean, these type of people have such stake in the game that they are going to spit out the propaganda. I mean, they have to. Their businesses, their jobs, everything's at stake here. Then we look at the ECB. The ECB has been doing what the Bank of Japan has been doing what the Federal Reserve has been doing, and that is printing money. The euro soared to its biggest one-day gain against the dollar in a year, and the Eurozone bond prices slumped after the ECB, can you believe this? The president, Mario Draghi, hinted, didn't do anything, they just hinted, that the ECB might start winding down its stimulus in response to accelerating growth. What kind of growth does Europe have? Really? I'm just dead serious about this. I mean, the central bankers just literally lie to our faces, and then you'll see. You'll go on to, whether it's Bloomberg or CNBC or anything else, go on a trader floor if you ever have the opportunity to do that, and you see them soaking up the lies like a sponge. It's embarrassing. It really is. A lot of these people literally can't even wipe their own behinds, and I'm not trying to be funny. Any move by the ECB toward reducing bond purchases would put it on a similar path as the Federal Reserve, which first signals the intent to taper down its own stimulus package back in 2013. Took a long time, in fact, to do that. Let's see. They said they want to taper down 2013, and it is currently 2017 at the time of this recording, and they have not gone to taper at all, at least what we have seen publicly. The ECB is likely to remain far behind. The Fed has been raising interest rates gradually since December 2015, while the ECB key rate has been negative since June of 2014. They're in big trouble. They're in worse trouble than the US, at least the immediate problems. And if they pull back, this is it. Ladies and gentlemen, get a front row seat. Pop that popcorn and sit tight, because we're in for one hell of a ride if this is going to happen. One very small note I wanted to make here out of the Wall Street Journal. Long-term U.S. government bond yields, which move opposite to the price, fell to fresh lows for this year on Monday, the latest sign of investor skepticism about economic growth. Meanwhile, utility stocks, often a refuge for nervous investors, have rallied this year. Okay, so those are 2 points that I just wanted to make about this, showing you some signals, showing you some indicators that the market is looking for a little bit of safety right now at this time. They're not going all the way to something like gold, but they're sort of hedging their bets, at least to some degree. Venezuela is in turmoil. You may have heard that. I am one of the only, I don't know why, but I'm one of the only channels on YouTube that's regularly covering this information going on in Venezuela. I guess it's not popular. I guess it's not, maybe it doesn't get you the views that you want, but people are literally dying. I don't care about the views. I mean, that's pretty clear. There are other channels that have just blown right by me. Doesn't matter. I'm not changing. I don't care what gets the views. I want to do what I think is important. Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, said on Tuesday that a police helicopter had attacked the Supreme Court in Caracas, but a grenade tossed at the building did not explode. I mean, I don't know what's true. I don't know what's propaganda coming out of Venezuela, but I have heard from many individuals from there that are suffering badly, and they have confirmed most of what I have read to you from these articles. Anyway, it doesn't matter if this situation happened or not. We are seeing the internal strife in the different branches within, or the different factions, let's say, within Venezuela. Something very, very dangerous is happening right now because real lives are at stake and they've been taken. So we have looting, we have violence. What they're saying is opposition activists say gangs of men on motorcycles looted without interference from authorities. Such groups are often government supporters, apparently. 75 people have been killed nationwide during almost 90 days of protests seeking Maduro's removal, which is not going to happen. The guy is just not going to leave, and people have stated they're not going to give up. So we're seeing people dying, we're seeing people being brutally murdered, we are seeing things happening back and forth. I mean, there's not just one way here, I'm sure. I know there's a lot going on there, but the truth is that there's a lot of pain and suffering going on. All for what? Think about it. All for what? For a bunch of stupid paper money. That's what it's always about. Maduro said, the same situation with the grenade. The helicopter was flown over the Interior Ministry, and I demand that the MUD, the opposition coalition, condemns this eminently coup-mongering attack, and goes on. I don't know what's going to happen, but what I am looking very, very carefully at is the intervention from outside forces. I'm very, very surprised at this time that nothing has happened in terms of getting boots on the ground or getting the UN in there for something. I'm just really surprised at that, and I am looking for that to occur. You know that you are a slave where you live when this happens. If the bill, which is considered by the Senate, or by the way, we're talking about the Philippines here, it's considered by the Senate, is approved, signed into law, the failure to sing the national anthem with sufficient energy would be punishable by up to a year in prison and a fine of 50,000 to 100,000 pesos. That's $1,000 or $2,000. A second offense would include a fine and prison time, and violators would be penalized by public censure in a newspaper. You must sing it, it's mandatory, and you must be done with fervor. Look at this. The tempo, can you believe it? The tempo of the national anthem must fall between 100 and 200 beats per minute. I mean, it's insane. This is the type of tyranny that people are subjected to. It seems like North Korea, that if you don't cry enough, you will be punished. In North Korea, seems like it's not too different in the Philippines here, as in this example. This is a joke. Driverless mini police cars to patrol Dubai. This here, I believe they said the car was developed by a Singapore company, and here they are, these little tiny cars that will go around, have facial recognition. They will be released onto the streets this year, apparently, and they want to expand on it. They have a drone that could come off the back, and it could spy on everybody. It's interesting to see the way robotics have really expanded to such a great degree in such a short period of time. I think there's a lot of problems with them still. I think people don't really understand that yet, but they simply are looking for safety. So anything that gives them that sense of being safe, they're all for it. They will sign up to it, and they will definitely be willing to lose any of their liberties. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found this video informative, I know you will find my books, The Money GPS, and my latest release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can flip through the books at Amazon. There's links in the description. The first book is about the 4 asset classes and how to profit from them. Then the second book is familiar topics from there, but I also get into something called the Money GPS strategy, earning income, reducing your debt, and many other things. Check that out at Amazon. But if you're interested in the audiobook version, because either you are too busy or anything else, you can check the audiobook version out at themoneygps.com. If you're still here, just wanted to let you know, number one, I'm on Steemit, for those who want to know. It's an interesting concept, basically social media that pays the creators and the curators. So if you give like a thumbs up, you get paid, believe it or not. And it's an interesting concept. You get paid in cryptocurrency, which you can then exchange for, let's say, Bitcoin, which you can then exchange for dollars. So it's interesting, to say the least. A lot of people don't like it, but I need to let you know that I'm on there as well. The same information that's posted here is posted there. I may do some articles and things on there as well, little extra bonus information. And I just want to also let you know, you've seen some videos of me face to face, and I want to do more of those, but they will always be in addition to these videos like this. This is my bread and butter. I'm not going to change that anytime soon. So the other videos are simply, let's call it bonus material and more opinionated, and I like to get into maybe some different topics, but they'll always be in addition to these. So have no fear. Take care.